Good morning. Good morning, Dana. How are you doing?
Morning, friend. All good. Yeah, eager to start after the issue has been resolved. It's just so complicated, it's just these live streams.
Yeah. The audio versions were much easier, but these are good. These are good. We're gonna have fun with this as well.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, didn't make it today. We've Darren fell a bit ill, so it's gonna be the two of us. But I'm sure we can make it almost as fun.
Yeah, we're going to miss his flair, but yeah, let's hope that the two of us can make up for it, at least a little bit.
Definitely. Yeah. So we will be showing his strategy as well, which interestingly enough, and that's why one of the reasons we invited you is that you're the kind of the author of the strategy. You're the brains behind the operation.
And you can say that although it's not something as complicated as you make it out to be, but we did talk a bit back then, and yeah, I'll be curious if everyone finds it interesting.
Nice, nice. So the funny thing that's what we're gonna miss from Darren here is actually him talking about the results that he's had with it because but since we're quite close to him and we know more or less what happened, so Darren did get a huge boost in his business after he started doing this. So for those who know Darren and who know what he's been doing on LinkedIn, he's got quite a good number of followers. He's got 17,000 followers over. He's been on LinkedIn fairly active. He's got like some very well performing posts in the past with the help of Arsam and his content strategy as well. And more recently this year, he wasn't engaging much on LinkedIn. He was posting, but his posts were underperforming. As we all know, LinkedIn also changed a lot in 2024, right? And so he asked for your help, and what you told him is initially it's like a lot of people would expect like if you pay attention, if you know something about LinkedIn, one of the things that Darren wasn't doing was engaging. But one of the things that I like about what you do, Dana, is that you don't just it's not just engaging, and a lot of people are just randomly engaging and commenting on random people's posts and expecting that they engage back. But the way you set this up and the way you look at this is through data. You actually have an interesting view, and you know who you should be engaging with in order to get the attention of the right people when you're looking for clients. I mean, a lot of people maybe are just looking for random followers, but even if your goals are not clients or specifically on social, and you're just looking for followers, even your followers should be at least relevant to what you're doing, right? And if you're just getting reciprocity for your interaction with others, I mean, those people are not going to be doing anything on your profile, right? What's the point of
Yeah.
them commenting there just because? And we go back, and maybe we can touch a little bit on this subject of, and that's the problem of paid pods, for example. I mean, those people, they will never end up being anything for you other than just someone who's being paid to engage for you. It's the same as paying for likes in any other platform, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I might ruffle a few feathers with this, but that's okay. I don't mind. So, with this being said, Dana, if there is someone who knows how to get the right engagement, it's you, and that's what you told Darren a little bit how he should be doing it. And first of all, do you want to tell us how you look at it? How do you find out who the people are, and what people should be looking at?
Absolutely. So this is going to be a long one, everyone, so please bear with me. There are just a couple of things that you need to know about engagement before we can get to actual how to. We need to cover a little bit of the what and also the why. Okay, so first of all, commenting equals in invisibility in so many ways. So I want to preface this with saying that you just, and that's another cliche, and I'm sorry for having to repeat this over and over again, but you need to know what your ideal client is up to. And the preface here is that everything that Fran and I are going to talk about pretty much in this live is valid if your ideal client is somewhat active or very active on LinkedIn. So if your ideal client just has a profile and maybe they log into LinkedIn like once every couple of months, I don't think that this strategy is going to be viable for you. So to anyone who's listening, just take this with a grain of salt. Think about your ideal customer avatar, your persona. Think about their habits. Where do they hang out? Are they actually on LinkedIn? And I don't mean being an active creator or something. I don't mean that they're posting content. But one of the tell signs of activity is if you go to someone's profile and you click and you just look at their activity, there is posts, but right next to it there is comments. So click on the comments and see whether this person is at least likely to comment on something. If they are, and if you see a couple of comments from, the last couple of weeks, this means they're somewhat active. Now, some people don't ever comment, the so-called lurkers. And this is usually typical for executives on a very high level. And it's also because of a status sort of thing. They don't want their status to be associated with anything they may say out in public. Hence, they just don't do it. But, like CEOs, CFOs, directors, VP, quite unlikely to be very active on social media, especially LinkedIn. So just keep that in mind. You should know where your ideal client hangs out and what they do on LinkedIn. So if you have some kind of a proof that your ideal client is active or very active, then you can pretty much continue listening to what we have to say. If not, I'm afraid that your best bet is cold outreach because there is no other way. There is no other touch point where you can actually get to that person. Probably many other strategies exist. I'm just talking about LinkedIn here. So if you already know that your client is active, this is when commenting has three main benefits. First of all, it's a way to show your expertise without being in people's faces. It's a way to build a personal connection without invading their inbox because especially nowadays, people are just so very skeptical when someone starts DMing them. We've actually reached the point where if you want to have a conversation with someone, pretty much need to preface your introducing DM with, I'm not going to pitch you. I'm not trying to pitch you. I just want to, chat or something. Because people get pitch slapped all the time. And if you land in their inbox, they're always going to have that suspicion that you may actually end up doing that, right? So, but if you go for the commenting route, then you pretty much skip over that hurdle. It's not there anymore, and you're just free to say whatever you want to say with a very high chance that they may actually read it. Especially if you land on a post where you've got something valuable to say, taking the time and really showing off what you know, this can pretty much bring you to like step 4 of a sales process, especially if the person whose post you're commenting on has that problem or someone in the comment section. So this is one way that commenting works really well. Second one, staying on top of mind as well. If you're a regular on someone's content and they read your comments very often, they will think of you more often. And this is kind of what you want to have. You want to be very high on the awareness radar of people as well. And the third part is actually, I wouldn't say tricking the algorithm, but more like playing along with the algorithm. Because one thing that I really find really funny is people tricking the algorithm. People hating on the algorithm and, pretty much blaming it for their lack of traction or blaming it for being completely irrational. And the thing is that it's actually extremely rational. Anytime I read someone posting something like, why is the algorithm favoring crappy posts? Like, why are rants so popular, but, a post that's packed of value doesn't get any traction? And the reason is, like, it's us guys. Like, it's our fault because we're much more likely to comment on a rant and join in on a rant than on a really valuable post. So it's us. It's literally tracking what we do, and it is giving platform to our interactions. And what this means is that If you spend time on someone's content and you interact with them, then the algorithm thinks that you're interested in that and is going to show you more of this. But here is how you can make this work in your favor. If you interact with someone and they interact back with you, they will start seeing more of you because they've also interacted with you. So if
Absolutely.
you
I mean,
start interacting,
the algorithms
yeah,
are
sorry, Fran,
made
go on.
to feed us what we want. I mean, because that's what the platform wants. The platform wants to keep users on the net and not leave. So if what they want is to feed us what we want to see, it's as simple as
Yeah,
that. So whatever we
exactly.
show by our behavior that we want to see. So if I click see more on that person's post, if I click like, if I leave a comment, then I'm demonstrating that I'm interested in that one post. Even just the fact of hovering over a post, I'm signaling the
Oh yeah.
algorithm that I'm interested in that. So if I'm doing that in a post that I'm not interested in, then I'm going to see more of those because that's what the algorithm thinks I'm interested in. So instead of hating on the algorithm, try to understand that its purpose is to keep is actually to help us. I mean, the purpose is to follow the purpose of the algorithm is to serve the platform, and the purpose of the platform is to serve the user. So yes, their ultimate goal is to make advertising dollars, but for them to make dollars, they need to keep users on the platform. That's how they serve advertising. So that's their goal, is to keep us there and to keep us entertained. It's as simple as that. Sorry, Dana, go ahead.
No, no, absolutely. I mean, this is exactly true because, everyone is complaining about the ads and stuff, but, they need an audience for the ads. So they need to make sure that they show you exactly the kind of stuff that are going to make you stick around on a platform. So anytime you even just read a post, you click on see more and you dwell on it and you go through the comment section, you are giving that post exposure. But in the very same way, if, for example, if I comment on Fran's post and then he replies back to me, it's very likely that if he goes back to the feed, he will see my post up top because he recently interacted with me. And this goes for DMing as well, by the way. Something that I noticed was that Fran and I used to message a lot on LinkedIn on the actual app. So like we'd be every day like back and forth. And anytime I would log into LinkedIn, I would see Fran's post at the top of the feed, literally every day. At some point, we said, okay, are we crazy? Because, the inbox is just horrible. And we switched to WhatsApp. And ever since we stopped DMing so much on LinkedIn, I don't see his post anymore on the top of the feed. So this, goes together with this thing with staying at the top of someone's mind. If you engage with them regularly, they will also see your content more regularly. So if your ideal client is on LinkedIn, you have to engage with them. And it's not even about so much making this some sort of a foot through the door to get into the DMs at some point. It's just really to stay on the top of the mind. And that's very important. I honestly, I want to give you an example of how important that is. Recently recommended someone I don't know to a friend of mine because this friend he told me, you know what, I have this issue, it's really bugging me and I really need a solution to that problem because it's just taking me so much time. What he needed was some sort of like business automation or something. Like he wanted to automate his client onboarding process, the whole thing with creating the meetings on his calendar and creating a new client folder on Google Drive and sending the onboarding docs and stuff like that. This was really just taking so much of his time. And when he said that, I just immediately said, here's the guy. Like, I know someone who does exactly what you want to do. Why do I know this? Because he's on top of my mind. Because I see his content on my feed all the time. His content's good. I don't even comment on it, but I read it because it's interesting to me. And while I don't have that problem just yet, I want to be informed about what he can offer potentially in the future. And because he's so clear about what he does, he just popped up in my mind absolutely immediately. And I referred my friend to him just automatically. So this is being on top of mind. You never even know when someone refers your client if you're on top of mind.
Absolutely, that's a great example.
Yeah, so we kind of went through, the what and also the why, which is very important. So getting to the how, I know this is a problem that people kind of have on LinkedIn, so active creators. Uh, we know that we have to engage. Most of us have actually even already seen the benefit of engaging, but it's very hard to have some kind of a structured process and to have a system for this because you need a system. So
Yeah.
what I developed is a data pipeline that's based on analytics. Basically, that pipeline goes through, a person's content from the last 3 months, and it extracts the top engagers. So the people who commented on more than 50% of the comments of their content. Sorry. I would say, these are the people who they really support you. They're usually also friends. So these are people that you do want to have in your engagement list because they support you all the time, and it's only fair if you support them as well. And I've also found, because anytime I say this, people start going, yeah, but this is like a pod, it's a quid pro quo. Well, it's not really, guys, because honestly, my friends that I've met on LinkedIn, they became friends because of their content, because we started talking in a comment section, which means that I actually find their content to be really good, which pretty much means that if I see that post, I will want to comment on the post because they always have something valuable to say. So if you are engaging with someone just for the sakes of the engagement, it's dull. Okay. I mean, I do have people in my top engagers list who I actually suspect some of them use AI because it's not possible that someone's commenting on 85% of my posts. It's just not realistic. And also, it's the nature of the comments that kind of make me think that. So, never mind. My point is that I'm not going to engage with them. I'm not going to put them on my engagement list. And I have the engagement list because you know, as we already discussed, the algorithm kind of has this recency effect where if I was reading something yesterday from someone new and I found it interesting and I had a larger dwell time on that post, it is going to show me that person again the next day. And then if I continue engaging with them and reading, it's going to keep showing me. But sometimes in that process, someone who may be close to us, but maybe, I don't know, took a holiday, they're just going to like slip through the cracks. They're not going to be on the feed for you anymore. The algorithm kind of forgets about them. And this is where having an engagement list is something important just to keep you in check and, keeping your community together as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just stop you there for a second. So first of all, because today I didn't do the usual introduction, I just wanna say now we don't have because we moved from audio to video. But anyway, for those of you who are live with us, if you want to drop any question in the comments to either Dana or myself, just go ahead and write them in the comment section, and we'll get to your question. As I was reading Yael's comment that saying that comments on LinkedIn may produce fertile ground for successful collaborations, absolutely right, and it reminded me of this. So feel free to drop any questions, and we'll engage with you. We'll answer your questions. Anyway, on this subject. There are different types of people who you should be commenting on as per the way I see things. So one of the things that prompted this specific episode of that we're recording was Darren's new strategy that he started engaging. He started engaging specifically with his ideal client, and from my point of view, I think we should have a bit of both, not just your ideal client, but also what Dana was describing now. So your network of close contacts, that people who will, because the engagement will distribute your content, and if you have this network of close contacts that will engage with you most of the times or most of your posts, then these people will help distribute your content also to your ideal client. So don't just
Mm-hmm.
engage with your ideal client, have them inside of the strategy. I would do both. I'm not a good example from what I do on my day-to-day basis, but but that's why we were using Darren's example. So what happened with Darren was Darren wasn't engaging at all. He wasn't even. He was sometimes he wasn't even replying to the comments on his own posts, and he reached out to Dana. He asked Dana, "There's something wrong. My content's losing distribution. What's happening?" And and she kind of gave him a solution. But before we go from there, and we're going to demonstrate as well what Darren is doing, we're going to show you visually on the screen. Do that. I would like to also get a bit of Dana's backstory. What brought you to LinkedIn, Dana, and actually and what how you ended up doing what you're doing, because you're a brilliant data mind. You understand how things work. You understand that's what gives you these insights of how the algorithm performs. So what were you doing before, and what brought you to LinkedIn? Just a bit of backstory.
Okay, storytelling time. Maybe we probably should have started with that, Fran. But anyway,
Yeah, I know, but
uh,
it's never too late.
okay, it's never too late. Okay, a bit of a break from discussing the algorithm. So I'm a data scientist by trade, actually. I don't really have a marketing background or something like this, and I find it kind of funny when people think that I'm a marketer on LinkedIn. But you know, LinkedIn has this really nice feature where you kind of get to reinvent yourself, which could be abused, by the way. But let's believe in the best about people, yeah. So I'm a data scientist by trade. I started out working in management consulting first, and then in credit risk scoring. But to be honest, in my first job in management consulting, I found out at some point that one of our colleagues is actually working remotely from Crete, and the office was in London. And this is when I realized, okay, this is actually possible. And it actually had been my goal pretty much since I was like 24, 25. This was, for me, this was a dream. You know, just being able to be very flexible, just do things on my own terms, you know. So kind of started going in that direction ever since. I realized soon enough that it's not really possible, and that I kind of have to do, you know, my duty, you know, work in offices and companies and corporate for a couple of years until I have some experience. So I managed to break free from that in 2019. Yeah, in 2019 when I secured a remote contract and actually started writing specializations for an online platform for data analytics and data science. And then I started also freelancing as a data scientist, and you know, pretty much like everything was good for a very long time. I had this flexibility and freedom that I craved. But I had my daughter in 2021, and a little bit after that, I kind of started getting a little uneasy because everyone who's a freelancer in the audience, like you know, the ups and downs. You know, sometimes you have so much work that you just like you don't know what day it is even, and sometimes like a pipeline is just empty for weeks and weeks on end, and it's just the insecurity, like how am I going to get my next client? Like what if I just completely screw up that next sales call? And, you know, it was with especially with a small child, I was just feeling like it's finally time to grow up and find a job and work for someone really. This time I have to make the sacrifice for my family. And I was thinking, you know, with my CV in data and my international experience, like this would be easy. This was last year, by the way, last spring. Little did I know, job market was just so bad, especially in data. I think when I was looking for a job last year, this was the lowest point in the data market that's ever existed so far. And I sent out about 150 applications for about a month, got 3 interviews. All of them were really poor fit. Like they actually thought that I would relocate. That's why I was desperate, really. I was absolutely desperate. I didn't know what to do. I still had one ongoing project, but it was for very little money. Because I was job searching, I was on LinkedIn a lot. And at some point I realized, okay, that's actually social media now, right? And I was just thinking, I've been selling my knowledge for money for so many years, and I just thought I'm actually going to start sharing this for free. And I started writing about data a lot, and I got unbelievable traction, guys. Like unbelievable traction. It was mind blowing. I was just sharing my experiences, everything that's wrong with the data market, how to become a data analyst or data scientist, just practical tips and tricks. And I was getting maybe like 10K impressions on a post. But the most ridiculous part is that within, I think, like 2 months, I had 17 job interview invitations in my inbox, straight coming to me. And I didn't have the open to work badge. I didn't have the open to work option. I just had traction. And I had recruiters noticing me because I was on the feed and just coming to me, be like, would you like to come to this interview? And like, to me, this was a point when I said, you know what, I don't need you right now. You seem that you need me, but I don't need you. And I just kept going. And at some point, I saw the data potential in LinkedIn as well, and I just started doing that.
Yeah, and I like how you look at it. We've had so many conversations about the algorithm, about what performs, what doesn't perform, and there's no one I would ask anything related to content distribution or LinkedIn first before you. You know
Thank
that
you.
already. So yeah, thanks a lot for sharing your story. That's amazing. And then I know that recently you started you were starting a project like along the lines of what you're doing, which was helping people engage. It was a platform that would give people an engagement strategy. And I know you're still doing something similar. Do you want to just give us a short introduction on that one, because it's very relevant to what we're talking about here. So commenting for profit, not just commenting for engagement or for visibility, but commenting for profit. So, or actually,
Yeah.
as you even tell us what you're doing now, would you even give us a bit of a separation between commenting for distribution and commenting for profit?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on the part that's commenting for profits, I think Darren's case study is probably the best one. So I'll just tell you what we did for him, what I did for him. So I got all of his data and I started looking at his activity. And first of all, because I can see how much he comments, he was commenting like, I don't know, average of 2 comments a day, which does nothing for distribution. And he was getting about 20 comments median per post, which is just abysmal for his type of audience because he's got like what, almost 20K followers, right?
I think he's
18,
around
17,
17, 18, yeah, maybe.
something like this. 20 comments per post for such an audience, this is just really bad. So the first thing I actually advised him, this was a while ago as well, I told him to clean up his connections because he had way too many connections and that's bringing down reach. And the second thing that I noticed when I ran the analysis on his data was that he basically doesn't have a top fans pool. This is something that I'd never seen before, but he had two people who would comment on more than 20%, more than 50% of his posts. And these two people are you, Fran, and Awesome.
For for clarity, the top fans pool that Dane is referring to is this people that engage with you constantly. These let's say the friends who you engage with, and there's a reciprocity. They engage with you as well. There's usually you create a bit of an organic network there, and Dana refers to it as the top fans pool.
Yeah, so there is a little bit more to that definition. To be a top fan, you have to be commenting on more than 50% of the posts. So this is a top fan. This is someone who consistently shows up in your content month after month after month. This is a top fan. Okay, so Darren just had two people, which just really was telling me he's not engaging. He's not showing up in front of the same people at all. So pretty much all the comments that he would get on every single post would be completely random and they would be completely on the whim of the algorithm. So he wasn't controlling his content distribution because he wasn't engaging a lot. But where the commenting for profit comes in is that Darren's ideal client is very active on LinkedIn. So what I told him was make a decision, like pick one avatar. Like, do you want to target coaches? Do you want to target consultants? Do you want to target this particular person? And once you make that decision, you should start looking for them, checking out their content, and engaging very meaningfully. Not just great postmate or something like this, or asking some generic question, but like actually try to have something to say about what they're writing about. And I told him, I promise you start doing this, and your pipeline would fill up. And it did.
It
And
did
this was
really quickly.
a week.
Yeah, yeah,
It took him a week. But I have to say, he was very conscientious. And I was
yeah,
kind of doubting whether he's going to really follow through because um, the reason why he doesn't engage much is because he doesn't particularly enjoy it and he's also very busy.
yeah.
So
But he
I
did
had
have
my
fun when he
doubts.
started doing it. He was
He did,
enjoying the
yeah.
conversations. He was really, and his comments were thoughtful. They were really good comments as well. It's very important to keep this in mind. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a comment that like, and I've seen like even such big people as Jasmine saying creating templates for comments and stuff. That's not what Darren was doing. He was actually commenting from what he thought, from what was coming inside of him.
Yeah.
He saw a post and he saw, all right, this is what I have to say about it, and he asked questions and he engaged in a conversation. That's what a comment should be, because you want to. What you're doing is not just commenting. You are engaging with a person, with a specific person who might or might not be your client in the future, but how is someone going to become your client or be interested in what you have to say if what you have to say is AI created? I mean, then they're not really interested in what you have to say, are they? Or if it's a template, just speak your
Yeah.
mind, but obviously from your expertise point of view, right?
Yeah. Well, what really, really impressed me with Darren's comments was that he was literally just pouring his heart and soul out.
Yeah,
Like his comments would be so personal, like so heartfelt. He would share something from his life and his experience. And like that would be like this long, you know? It's so hard to ignore. And he would stand out in the entire comment section. And people would really appreciate that he took the time to write something like so genuine and so long. And he took the time because this takes a lot of time, right?
yeah.
So he started doing that. And within a week of doing that, his pipeline was so full that he couldn't continue commenting for the next month or something
Yeah, absolutely.
because he didn't have the
What
time.
he did was he used this and he developed a little technique with LinkedIn filters, which it's what we'll demonstrate in a few minutes, to actually make the process quicker. But he wasn't saving time on the itself. He was just saving time on finding the people to comment on.
Yeah, yeah, he was really taking his time, and I'm really glad that he did it. I would actually probably have to rerun the analysis on his content, by the way, to see how it's changed. But by the way, I don't know whether you noticed, Grant, but I think his also his follower growth sped up since he started doing that.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention, but yeah, I would expect it to.
Not that anyone should aim at follower growth. I just want to say this with confidence. It's just another argument that it gives you so much visibility to engage meaningfully that people could actually follow you just because of one comment. And it
Yeah,
just means
that's the
that the
right.
comment was just really good.
Exactly, but that's the right reason to follow you, right? It's because a comment is also a type of content. It's something that you put out there
Yeah.
publicly. It's the same thing as a post if you actually put some thought into it. So it's your opinion that someone is interested in and decides to follow you for it. So yeah, I would say that. And also, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, when you start commenting, you start drawing those people to you start drawing your content to their feed as well, so that these people who will see your content as well, and they might also enjoy it and start following you because of that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And maybe I should clarify one part of this, for profit sort of thing. As I said in the beginning, commenting basically brings you so much closer to having a conversation without any kind of a bias. But like, make no mistake, if you want to make a sale, you have to have the conversation. And meaningful engagement, meaningful commenting just opens the doors like very wide for you to just go in and have that conversation. It doesn't mean start pitching straight away. In general, if you ask me, never pitch, because if you have to pitch, you've done something wrong. That's at least my opinion about it.
I agree. Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you have to pitch, you have to like really go in with an actual pitch, unless you're talking to investors, of course. That's something completely different. But in general, if you do your prospecting right, if you lay out the conversation right, and you know that you're talking to a person who might need your problem, it might need your solution to that problem, then it just literally suffices to just say what you do. And then if it's relevant to them, they will automatically have interest for it. There is no
Yeah.
need to pitch. Where you have to be, and I know this is just straying away from the topic a little bit, but I think it's relevant because commenting is just opening the gateway, but then you need to have the conversation. So if you spend more time in finding the people who may find your solution relevant, spend more time prospecting and just really picking out who you talk to, you're going to have a higher success rate in actually making deals because
Absolutely.
you won't have to
Yeah.
pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's take advantage and just I think this is the right moment to do so. Let's show what Darren was doing, how he was using LinkedIn to actually get the most amount of people to drop these comments on. So these, as we mentioned, these were mostly well, not mostly. These were his ICP. It was his ideal client. And he created a method specifically to comment as much as possible on these people. Again, the ideal client he had at the time was coaches. So it's coaches are very active on LinkedIn. So this goes to in connection with what Dana was talking about before. It in his case it made sense. So make sure that if you're going to do this, that it makes sense for you as well. I actually posted, I don't know if it was yesterday or one of these days this week, that obviously the marketing strategy you're going to be using on LinkedIn or anywhere else depends on your business. It should be you should know who your target client is, and from there know what their activity is, and that's where you start. That's where you develop the strategy, obviously. So if you know that your client like are coaches like Darren, for example, and coaches are very active on LinkedIn, so it only makes sense to try to put yourself in front of them where they are active. So the first thing is to find out where they're hanging out, where they're spending their time, and then get yourself in front of them. This is just the basics of marketing, and in this case, it's LinkedIn. So the way we're doing this, and I'm going to be sharing my screen now. If you're watching this or if you're just listening to us on Spotify, for example, and you're not listening, I'm going to be describing as well what I'll be doing. So it's you can just listen into what I'll be saying. So you can see my screen here. I suppose, Dana, can you confirm that you see my screen? Everything is okay?
Yeah, I can see your screen.
All right, perfect. So we go to the search bar, and basically Darren was just typing in coach. And in this case, this will give you a list of coaches or people who have, obviously, as you can see here, when I type in the search bar coach, the first thing I see is a retail brand called Coach. So the next thing is a list of filters appears underneath the search bar, and when we press enter and we click on people, and this is going to show us only people who have their job title as coach, or they have coach somewhere in their profile description. Now the filters change, and what we can do from here is Actually, no. I went to people, but in what Darren was doing was not with people. He was actually using posts. So in this case, if you want to find people, and I was using this method, you can click on people, and this finds people who have this job description. So if you want to, if you're looking for founders, for executives, if you're specifically looking for someone, you can do it that way. What Darren was doing here was he's clicking on posts, so posts by coaches, and now this gives us a list of posts that are relevant. Either they have the word coach in their in them, or they are, or the person who wrote them is a coach. As you can see, if you're looking, founder of leveraged coach. So what we're searching is for the word coach anywhere on LinkedIn. But now we're looking for posts specifically. So we click on the filter posts, and now we're going to sort them by latest. And as we sort them by latest, we're going to see the latest posts right here. So you can then filter them by the past 24 hours or whatever you want. But what Darren was doing is just as simple as this. You can even filter by content type if you don't want to watch videos, if you just want to see images or whatever, and then you can filter by members. But what Darren was doing was just as simple as this. He types the word coach in his case. If you want founders, then go with founder, whatever your ICP is, and then click on posts. Go to filter this by latest or sort by latest, and now you get just a list of posts from coaches, the most recent ones. As you can see, this has been posted 1 minute ago, 2 minutes ago. So these, on top of just being posts, most of them will be from the person you're looking for. Even if they're not, you just scroll through, and you're gonna have like this is an endless feed, obviously, and they're all immediate. They've just been posted now or as very recently. So this is very these people are definitely, or most of them will be active right now on LinkedIn. So they will be replying to you. You will be starting a conversation. So basically, this is what Darren was doing. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now, but it's as simple as this. And then you just scroll down. Then the last step that Darren used was to just add this to favorites and create a bookmark on your browser, to then every day you just click on the bookmark, and you just from there you start comment on one. You find one that you like, you just scroll down, you find a post that makes sense for you to comment, and please make sure that this is the way you're doing it, not just using a template or whatever. And then you leave a comment to this person, and you actually want to have a conversation with this person, and that's it. And then save it to favorites, bookmark favorites, and then every day you just come here, you spend 30 minutes here, and that's a lot of thoughtful posts you're going to be dropping on these people. And what happened from here, I'm going to stop sharing now. What happened from here is in 1 week, Darren had his pipeline full, and he could barely cover all the clients that he had to serve. Dana,
Yeah,
you
because people
wanna?
wanted to have a conversation with him, you know. They just wanted
Yeah,
to carry
exactly.
on the conversation because he was making such good impression in the comment section that anyone reading his comments be like, okay, this guy's cool. And the thing is that people may buy something from you just because you're cool. It's just as simple as
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people are talking about this on LinkedIn itself, right? So be yourself. People will resonate with you. The resonating is something that is used a lot. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the first thing. I mean, we're all doing business with people, and we can talk B2B, B2C, but everything is. We've heard also the cliche. It's all human to human, right? Thank you, Lucy. Thank you for being here with us. But everything is human to human. It's a cliche, but it's true. So if someone is going to do business with you, they need to like you one way or another. So if you start actually giving a little bit of yourself to other people's posts, and I think that's the key phrase, giving a little bit of yourself to other people's posts, then some of them will be those who resonate with who you are and who will want to work with you. In Darren's case, Darren's a designer, and he's also a profile specialist. People look at his profile. Obviously, his profile is perfectly optimized, like no other.
Yeah.
When they see his comment, the first thing they're gonna do is click on him, on his name, see who he is, what he does, and then they realize, oh crap! But I do need some optimization of my profile. So they reach out to
Yeah,
Darren,
'cause
and
they also compare with his, you know. They look at his
yeah,
profile and it's his. I mean, it's really nice to be a designer on LinkedIn because pretty much like your profile is your portfolio with the first starting point, and people see what you can do, and then they compare their profile to yours, and they're like, oh, like I really want to have such a sleek profile as his, you know. So this
yeah.
really works in his favor, but the same goes to pretty much anyone who's targeting active LinkedIn users. Same goes to like ghostwriters. All you need to do is read one post from that person and be like, okay, I actually really want my feed, like my wall to look like this. I want this to be my content. Can I hire that person to write like this for me? So it works in many kinds.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And for example, I'm working with a client right now. The funny thing is that he's not his clients, his ideal client, they're executives, and they are not active at all. I mean, they don't engage with his posts. He has engagement from other people in his posts, and he has some fairly good distribution, but they don't engage with his posts. But we know that that they are seeing his posts. And one of the reasons we know this is actually if you go to the analytics of your own posts, you can see who's seeing your posts. You can see, like, you can order it by job title. You can see the people who the impressions that your post is getting. You can see that, and you know that obviously, Dana, but most people
Yeah,
don't. So you can actually go to analytics for a specific post and see who saw the percentage of people, the amount of people who saw that post, what's their job title, where are they located, and all of this data. If you put it together, you can get a really good picture of actually if your ideal client is seeing your posts or not, whether they're engaging or not. And on this note, do you want to touch a little bit on this, Dana? What are the aspects that you look at when you're creating these engagement strategies? So, because this is very relevant to know what we're looking for, right?
yeah. Okay, that's there's so many things that come to mind. I'm going to just have to repeat myself. Know your ideal client. I
Yeah,
really, yeah, it's just. I'll give you an example, very similar to yours. So I have a client right now, and he's a therapist that works with addiction. And the thing is, like his engagement is just brutally low. He's like, I don't know, 10 comments or something, 5 comments. But his impressions are quite high. And the thing is that I would be an idiot if I tried to change his engagement because unless, I don't know, we get him in a pod or something, no one from his ideal clients is ever going to comment on a post like this. Because, if you think about this quite logically, most people who have an addiction problem are not going to come forward and comment
yeah,
on someone's post and say, hey, this is me, I have an addiction issue. But they will see the post. So in his case, having very low engagement paired with quite decent impressions is exactly what we want. And this is what we were actually working on together. We are doing everything to ensure that his impressions are sky high so that he can reach more people. Because we know also in his case, his ideal client is quite active on LinkedIn as well. So we're just working on the distribution part. We're working on broadening this as much as possible, but I would never try to encourage him to do anything in regards to engagement because it doesn't matter for him and it's not a metric that we need to be interpreting. But if you're asking me, what things matter and how to interpret things, I would say that very basically, very generally speaking, low impressions could be a sign that you're not active enough on a platform. It could be a sign that your network is just completely clogged by irrelevant contacts. It could be a sign that your copy is really bad as well. And same goes to engagement too, by the way. Sometimes we're not expecting engagement, but sometimes the posts are just so badly written that they just leave no room for engagement. People, especially who just start writing and like one sentence just takes like a frigging paragraph. It's like, mate, no one's gonna read that, let alone comment on it. I mean, write optimized for social media, right? If you want to do long form, start a newsletter. So what else? What else, friend? What am I missing? We've got impressions, we've
Uh,
got engagement, profile views, we've
no,
got as well.
no, that's really good. That's not really where I was going to. I meant like,
Where are you
uh,
going?
yeah, I meant like because for us it's very easy. You say know your ICP, and that's correct. But what I mean is, what should they be looking for in their ICP? So because when you create your engagement strategy, you know where these people should be located. So that's basically like all the things that they should know about their ICP, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's say that I'm Darren and I want to target coaches, and Darren was targeting coaches in the US or UK. So that's one of the first things, right? You want to know that the people who you're engaging with are based in those countries, for example.
Yeah.
What other things are we looking for there from that we should have defined in our ICP, so then we can look for in the for the people we're engaging with.
Well, it really there's just so many markers here. I mean, if you start from the LinkedIn profile, you can say a lot about them just from the way their profile looks like. You can even tell if they're a part of, the so-called creator economy if you just look at their headline. So let's say if you just see some job title and some skills, they have no idea what creator economy is. And they're not likely to be very active on LinkedIn either. But if you see, when we start with like our thing, I help X do Y, this, it's very likely that this person is actually active on a platform and they're kind of playing the game as well. So but in reality, it's really just about finding these people, interviewing them, and seeing what parallels you can draw between them. So, for example, this thing that I said about executives are not very active, it's usually because they're very busy.
Yeah.
But like you need to actually have talked to them to make sure that this is the case. And this is where customer discovery plays such a huge role, you know, because you can operate on assumptions quite a lot. And I'm fairly certain that I'm operating on a couple of assumptions too. But you need to be aware of your assumptions because I may assume this, and that about my ICP, but until I actually find someone who fits that criteria, I'm just shooting in the dark until I
Yeah.
ask them and just
Yeah,
really
but we
confirm
have
it.
to
And you and
start
I,
with assumptions. That's how we start. I mean,
yeah,
the
yeah,
way
but you have
the
to
way
validate them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the way I teach people to start, I don't call it an ICP, ideal client profile. I call it a dream client avatar, which is the same thing. I just like the way it makes more sense, the dream client, because that's what we're aiming for, right? It's not just any client; it's a dream client. So the way I teach people to create their dream client avatar is start with literally your dream client, a person, an imaginary person that you want to that you want to create in your mind, that is your dream client. If you've had a past client who's been really really good that you would like to have more of those, start there. If you haven't, just imagine them, and then from there we start validating. Now you have an idea, you have someone, you've described them, you've put them into a worksheet. I actually have a dream client avatar worksheet. If you want it, just drop a message here. I can send it over. um, but but yeah, then describe everything about them. If you and then from there is where you start validating. You grab your assumptions and you try to validate them. You see if it's true, if it's not. Where do you do this? And all the data that is out there for us. So let's say that you wanna it doesn't matter what industry you're in, but like every industry has, and that's where I start everything. There's the thought leaders of your industry. So let's say that you're targeting solopreneurs or people who are actually working for solopreneurs. Most of the time, these people will be following something like Justin Welsh on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because Justin Welsh is like the leader of solopreneurs. He created kind of this concept in a way on LinkedIn. So go to Justin's posts. And it's not his post you want; it's the comments. But you're going to be reading
Yeah.
the comments and actually seeing with different eyes what people are actually commenting there, because they are telling him that us, everyone, because it's public information. They're telling us their problems. So you're validating now your ideas. All right, this is my ideal client. Is a solopreneur who's following Justin Welsh, blah blah blah, and you start from there, and then you start reading the comments and you go like, maybe I was wrong about this assumption, and
Yeah.
you correct it. You course correct from there. There's other places where you can go, like Reddit, on subreddits, forums, all of these places you can go to validate your ideas. But I like to start with an imaginary person, because that's how to get them going. People get stuck a lot in this thing of creating an ideal client, and I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly good one for sure. And also picking a really good client that you work with before is also that's a really good approach as well. You know, when you had someone you're like, okay, this person was a dream to work with. And I want clients like that person too. But yeah, I know that like yours is more like indirect research. My approach is way more direct. I know I just find people on LinkedIn
Yeah,
that I think fit my criteria. And by the way, something really good that so far I don't think anyone's ever let me down on this is just sending someone a connection request with a note and just saying, "Hey, I'm doing a pivot right now, and like, do you have like 5 minutes for me to just answer a couple of questions and help me out, please? No pitching, I promise." Something like this. Just very friendly message, and just being very straightforward about why are you contacting them. You know, being upfront, and not trying to spin some kind of a friendly conversation and start sneaking in some stuff. So far, I think 95% of the people that I've commented, that I've connected with that message, no one has let me down. You
yeah.
know,
Especially
like people,
if you're contacting people about what they do, everybody's happy to talk about what they do.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you can even be just like super blunt and say, "Hey, I'm trying to validate my like some hypotheses and assumptions as part of my customer discovery. Like, can you help me out? Like, no pitching. I'm just really curious about what you do and like your stuff, something like this." And people are just really open to doing that. Like they're actually open to doing this favor to you, and then you can pretty much ask anything. Like, do you struggle with this, and that? Just make sure you say that you're not pitching before that, because you start asking people, "Are you struggling with this?" They
Yeah.
know that there is usually a pitch coming after that,
No,
and this
explain
is a
that
way
you're doing
to
this to validate for customer discovery, that you want to know more about the audience you're targeting. So it's, yeah, nowadays it's very important, as you mentioned in the beginning. It's very important to
Mhm.
take that out of the way.
Yeah.
But then don't go and pitch them. Just if you say that
No,
you're not
just
going to
really you
pitch them,
don't
then
don't do it.
I,
Yeah,
I
just
think that
stick to
goes
your
without
word. And
saying, right?
yeah, I would certainly hope so. But yeah, this way you're just going to find so many things that you didn't know before. And I actually had a client meeting with someone yesterday, and like we thought that we had the customer profile narrowed down completely. And then he had because I kept pushing him like, go do customer discovery, go do customer discovery. And he just had 3 calls, and we actually realized that we were wrong about one of the most major assumptions that we made about the struggle. So we completely shifted directions, and now we're actually on the right path. But it took us, I don't know, maybe a month. And I think he did about 12, 15 interviews. You know,
Yeah,
the process of summarizing the data actually showed us, okay, this type of person is actually not in the same category of the other type of the person. They actually have a different struggle, and this is like the differentiator, and this actually, leaves us with two groups
yeah,
of different people who have completely different struggles.
yeah.
So yeah, you need to be very
Absolutely.
mindful of that.
And actually, I have a bit of an example for that, because Darren is also very big on customer discovery, and he does the exact same thing as you were describing. When he knows, like, all right, this person, I've loved working with this person, and because I worked with Darren in the past. I did my own approach, as you were saying. My approach is different because obviously I'm as a marketer, I'm used to doing audience discovery before there is a client, right? So I don't approach a client
Mm.
directly because I work with my clients. My client, I cannot approach my clients directly, right? So if they have data, they can give it to me, but most of the time they won't have it. So what I do is this approach of understanding the audience on the back end. But Darren does go directly, and this happened to us, for example, even with my discovery, the way I research. I did some research on Darren's ideal clients and stuff, and then he goes and he's like, all right. He defined his avatar like I advised to, with his favorite client, and from there he started developing a proper avatar, and then he just reached out and he said to this exact person who he thought of, all right, this was my best client so far. He reached out and he started asking questions, not just to this one, but to many people, just as you're saying. And a few of the assumptions we had, even after research, were not correct. And obviously this person said, no, that's not the way I think. This is what I do value, right? So this is the most important thing, is coming from their mouths specifically. Again,
Yeah.
sometimes be careful with this as well, because sometimes what people say is not what they mean, and the best way to actually validate anything is with their wallets. That's the best way. When
Yeah.
people can sometimes say they want something, but they wouldn't pay for it, and the only way to actually know if they would is actually charge them for it. But this is the
Yeah.
next level of validation. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it really depends on the business because depending on the business, you may or may not have the shiny object problem as well. I feel like especially in Darren's area, it's a little bit of a shiny object thing 'cause they look at his Polish profile and his portfolio and they're like, wow, just wow, I really want this kind of thing. But yeah, when they actually have to start thinking, do I actually need this? Am I willing to pay for it? It's a whole different question.
Yeah, definitely. So still on the note of commenting for profit, so that's the difference. Basically, if I'm not saying just comment only on your ideal client, but knowing your ideal client is the first big thing. Who are they? Who are they? But it's not just like, oh, my ideal client is a founder, right? What kind of a
Yeah.
founder?
Father of
Like,
what?
yeah, a founder of what, in which industry? And there's a lot of data there that people think isn't relevant, but you need to get into psychographics, right? Um, who
Yeah,
who
that's a
who
huge
are
one.
they exactly? That's why I advise to create an imaginary an imaginary person, because you actually need to know details like, are they married, do they have kids, because their behavior, you might not think so, but their behavior will change according to that. And Dana, you have a young child, and I have two daughters as well. I mean, our priorities shift, right? So
Yeah.
the way someone can engage with me changes completely. Like, if you know that I have two daughters and you drop a comment on my profile saying that, sorry, because I was busy with my daughter, that immediately, that's creating a connection. Like, this is, maybe
Yeah,
it's a
yeah, yeah.
silly example, but so yeah, psychographics are a big thing, and you need to know exactly, like, in depth, who you're targeting. And now that's commenting for profit. Is like, now you're targeting these people with the comments. Now you're specifically going for them, and actually now trying to create a connection with the comments. Try to start a conversation, right? Then should you also have in parallel a network of people who don't need to be your client? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and another thing is, there's different aspects to LinkedIn. For example, for me, and I actually mentioned this recently, I don't have a commenting strategy because just I can't find the time. I can't find the time to be engaging regularly on LinkedIn, and recently I haven't spent much time here either, and that's visible by my I wasn't even posting. But one of my priority personally, has been to find people whose content I like. You are one of them, Dana. Darren is another one. These are people who are really like. You're never gonna be my client, but it doesn't matter. The relationships we build are worth it, and they can be
Yeah.
profitable as well, right? I mean, how many people have I sent your way, and how many people have you sent my way? It just happens naturally. So don't close yourself either to this only my ICP,
Yeah.
because obviously you have a lot to lose there. Yeah.
It's one of the things, by the way, that I absolutely hate that I've seen a couple of times recently coming from a few different people. First of all, naturally extremities, but in that particular case, there is this now like really hard sales movement that claims that going on coffee calls and social calls is a waste of time.
All right.
And it's like I'm just thinking pretty much all the business that I've gotten in the last few months has been through referrals. And these referrals came through the friends that I made during the coffee calls. So,
Yeah.
so don't even get me started.
We met each other through comments.
Yeah, we met each other through comments, and then I was on a call with Kevin, who I met through comments, and he was very proactive, and he was like, "Yeah, let's jump on a call." And on that call, Kevin said, "Do you know Fran? He's really cool. If you haven't been on a call with him, you just really have to do this, like right now. Just message him right now and like invite him out for coffee." And I did, and this is how we met. So I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's just really when someone says that being on a social call is a waste of time, this just tells me you're in for the short game. You're willing to just rip off as many people as you want to rip off, and you don't actually care about your business long term. You're just doing this to make some quick cash. It could be even a seven figures cash, but you're not in for the long haul. That's it. This is what it tells
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing more profitable than having the right relationships. Let me. Damien has asked a question, and let me just read this. What do Dana and Fran think about the state of content on LinkedIn? For me, it's a mixed bag. So people great high value, cutting edge content. Others post a picture of their dog. Irritating. The dog post will more likely get more engagement. However, do that on any other platform and they'd be shut down. Uh,
I don't
I
know where
wouldn't
you
say
see
so.
that
I
actually.
don't think they would be shut down. Just before you answer. I mean, like I'm not on any social media because of that, because I found that most social platforms have like such crappy content that I can't bear to consume it. But go ahead, Dana. You want to pick that up?
I'm not sure I quite agree with being shot down by like on any other platform. It depends on really what platform do you mean? Because honestly, I mean, Instagram is just literally people like influencers just like showing around their houses, like doing stuff, just random stuff that, let's say, personally I wouldn't put on social media, yeah. But I have an explanation for you. Like again, we're going back to this whole algorithm thing, like let's blame the algorithm. The fact of the matter is, lots of people have dogs, and people who have dogs, they absolutely adore their dogs. So if I see, because I have a dog sleeping right next to me right now, if I see a photo of a cute dog on LinkedIn, rest assured I will comment because this is exactly the connection that Fran and I were talking about.
The
Because now,
psychographics.
like psychographics, because right now I can just start a conversation with that person and they'll be very open to me and they'll be like, okay, oh, show me your dog, like send me a picture, and you're just going to start chatting as if we've known each other for like a year. And this is why it gets more engagement because people can relate to it. And there's a very important point about content. Don't talk at people, talk with people. Like you want these posts, and while I think maybe showing your children on social media or every day is not my number one thing. This is not something I would do, just to create a connection to people who are parents as well. I would talk about my child, maybe I wouldn't post the picture, but this is exactly the kind of thing that makes you relatable, and it makes you a person, not
Yeah,
just some bot
yeah,
who's just typing out content. So yeah,
yeah,
the algorithm
absolutely.
favors it because people love it. That's why.
Yeah,
Because I
and
think
Damien,
sometimes
I know we're.
people.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, Frank, can just finish this one up. I think there is something that people get wrong about the algorithm. You think that it's the algorithm that's pushing something, and giving an engagement. It's the other way around. It's the engagement that gets something pushed onto the feed more and promoted by the algorithm because it already has the engagement. It's not the other way around, guys. It's like we are doing this, all of us collectively. It's not just some random bot or something that decides, okay, this post is praising LinkedIn, so we're going to push it forward, or this post is trashing LinkedIn, we're going to push it down. It's not how it works. It depends on the engagement, and the engagement depends on the network and the relevance when the people see it. And this is why rants are getting such amazing engagement because it's something very relatable. Anger, find a common foe, and everyone will unite. And by unite, in this case, I mean comment.
Yeah, I was studying the emotions that get the most reactions out of people, right? And whilst a happy post is really nice and you might get a lot of likes, the post who will get the most engagement is the one that creates anger.
Yeah,
That's the anger is the emotion that creates the most willingness to react. Because think about it, if you're feeling happy, yeah, you're happy, you're content, you're fine, you're just sitting in the sofa, and yeah, and everything is good. You don't feel like acting. But if you're angry, you want to do something about it, and that's actually the emotion that prompts the more reaction. So it will create reposts and comments and all of this. Sorry. On the other hand, I do understand what you're saying, Damien, and because and I understand your frustration. And Dana and I have had these conversations many times. Um, so there are people creating great, very valuable content that is not being distributed, and there is a lot of crappy content that is being distributed. But again, it's not the algorithm who's distributing it, like Dana said. It's the people. So it's what we want to
yeah,
see. It's unfortunate to say, maybe it's not what I want to see. Maybe it's not what you want to see, Damien. But it's what the majority wants to see. So that's what's feeding the algorithm, right? Because
yeah,
again, back to what we spoke about at the start, it's all about the platform's goals, and the platform's goals is keeping the users on the platform, right? So that's what the algorithm is going to try to do. Um, yes. It's a vanity metric. You can see the value to begin this type of post. Yes. What I would say is use a strategy that encompasses both, right? So something that gets more distribution. So, and personally, I hate selfies. You're not gonna find a post of mine with a selfie. I never did that. I've done videos. If people want to know me, there's videos. It doesn't get more personal than this, where I'm live right now. So that's so I don't need to take a selfie. I don't think the selfie contributes to anybody, and that's why you'll never find a selfie of me posting with a selfie, posting a selfie
yeah,
with a text. It doesn't make sense. Um, but but again, it works again because it connects with people. They like it. But then find the type of content that will do the same for you, and that makes sense for you, right? So for me, being on video makes sense for me. I feel like I can share something, I can help people, and at the same time I am being myself, and I'm just here in front of you, and I have nothing to hide, so this is my selfie. Let's put it this way. But I'll never share a selfie. So yeah, do the one that makes sense for you. Maybe the dog picture is not the one that makes sense for you, but there will be others that do make sense for you, right?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because they're people who just make posting a selfie just so natural and authentic, and you can see that this is who they are. They're not doing it to boost the algorithm. They're just, this type of people. And it doesn't bug me. So let's say it bugs me when I see someone, who's only really posting selfies, right? And especially, girls in shorts and cut out top, and he's like, we know why you're doing it, okay? But sometimes when I see, especially a friend who's taking a picture of somewhere cool, and they just feel like sharing that with their network, and it's very consistent with their personality type, then it's going, oh, cool, you went there. It's we're always judging it differently based on the person and also based on the goal of doing it, and it's just how we tick.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And Damien, you said that you feel that LinkedIn is behind other platforms. I don't, in content wise, right? So on the quality of content, I don't feel that that's the case. But I would really like if you're willing to give us a bit more explanation on that one. Like, how do you feel that LinkedIn content is behind other platforms? Because I don't think so. I mean, I think LinkedIn content is more. Yes, it's become a bit of an echo chamber, but also you can curate your feed. And I'm gonna ask Dana to explain a bit more because I know she knows what I mean with curating your feed, and she touched on this a little bit, just not specifically. Do you wanna explain, Dana, what curating your feed means? Like,
Yeah, so there are quite a few aspects that goes into curating your feed. Sometimes you really just have to just like flat out block someone because if they have a big audience and lots of your contacts comment on their content, you're just going to keep seeing them, so you just have to block them. But be relentless in unfollowing people. If something bugs you, you can unfollow both, the people who react to it and the people who post it. And LinkedIn has that option, and by the way, you can also create a custom feed, literally. If you just go to the search bar and you press enter without typing anything, it's going to show you all the filters, and you can just type in different names from your contacts, from your first degree connections, and you just bookmark that. And just anytime you want your custom feed with the people you like and only them, then you can just press on that. You're just going to see the people you like. This is going to shove you even deeper into the echo chamber. And I don't know about you, but I actually like LinkedIn because I can meet new people. So this is why I don't like doing this very often, to be honest, because how am I actually going to discover anyone new this way? It's just not going
yeah,
to happen. It just shows me the posts of like 20 people that I like and I'm friends with. So many ways to curate your feed, just mainly. And by the way, we have an excellent comment in the comment section from Miranda. If you don't want to see a post, don't react on it. Like, so many people react and don't realize this
exactly.
means the algorithm will think they want to see more of it. So if you don't like something, don't spend time dwelling on it and ranting on it and explaining to the author why this is a dull post. Just either unfollow or block or something, or just, but don't leave comments because LinkedIn is going to keep on showing you the same kind of thing, even from the same author or the same topic or the same style.
This comment section is messing with me. I'm trying to post the link to the community, and it's well, the live part of it is really messed up. So I'm gonna take advantage and mention this. So thanks for that, Dana. And yeah, absolutely. Is your what I meant with curating the feed? Yeah, you did give a very good example that that is very important for those who want to use it. You can use the filters, but what I meant with curating the feed is exactly this. What you said now at the end from Miranda's comment.
Mm-hmm.
It's so the way you react to the posts, or if you comment, if you read, if you click, whatever you do is actually curating your feed, right? So if you want to see more of a person, then react to it. Sometimes I'm not in the commenting mood and I'm not going to comment, and I'm scrolling the feed, and if I see Dana's post, I'm going to click like because I know it's Dana and I want to see that again, and I want to tell the algorithm that I just want to see Dana's post next time again. And also another thing I do is, or I'm not going to comment right now, I don't have the time, but if I click like, I'm gonna be notified for the rest of the day the comments that people are dropping on Dana's post. So later
Mm-hmm.
on, I receive that notification and I will be engaging as well. Sometimes I do this consciously.
Yeah. Yeah, by the
Yeah,
way, guys, something ever since LinkedIn introduced the save button, if you save a post, this is pretty much interpreted by the algorithm as engagement. So if you save
yeah.
someone's post very regularly, the algorithm is going to show you more of that because you appear to have an interest to this particular person. So you don't even have to like, just save the post and
Yeah.
signal to the algorithm that this is what you want to see more of.
Relevancy is also a thing. So let's say that I'm commenting and engaging with a lot of marketers on LinkedIn. That's what the the algorithm is going to show me as well. More of is more marketers, right? So be conscious with your engagement according to what you want to see as well. If you want your feed to have something, then make sure you're signaling that this is what you want on your feed, and that's what you're going to be fed as well. On the side of the community is like we have this community with a few experts. Dana is one of them. Darren's another one. We have Kevin, Inga, quite a few people that are really good in their fields. And we have this community of free access, but it's exclusive to people who join our lives. So I just posted the link, struggled a bit. Find the link in the comments because the comments in the live are a bit weird. And just click on it and you can join. It's only up for 1 hour because, again, it's only exclusive for those who attend these live events. So just click on it and join us if you want. You can ask any questions you want. Any day, you have a question about the algorithm. There's a section for it, and you ask the question. Dana will answer, or any of us will answer, whatever you want.
Fran, Miranda's saying that the link doesn't seem to work. The one that's posted in the comment section.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Miranda's comments for some reason.
Yeah, because you have to reload the page, but it's there. I'm
For
just
example,
reloading
I just saw
every couple of minutes.
Damien's comment showing up, but I haven't seen any of Miranda's. Thanks,
Yeah,
Damien.
no, if you just reload the page for the live.
I think there are different live pages. Because this
Really?
it's because it's a bit weird, but I'll try to find it anyway. What doesn't work, Miranda? Is it that you can't click on it? Because if it's the live, the comment on the live. Specific the live page, you can't click on it, but the link should work. If you go to the comment section of the event, then you can click on it as well. Or nope, you can't.
No, she's saying that she copied it manually.
All right, I'm gonna post it again then. Anyway, we're at 1 hour 20, and we should be wrapping up soon. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to post the link again. Dana, any last words from you about commenting for profit?
Yeah, I think that you need to have this systematized in a way where you have separated time for prospecting, adding people to some kind of a system, and following through with that system, and just making sure that you're moving them through some kind of a predictable pipeline. Because I think that if you just go all in on commenting, I think you're just going to lose track of what's happening, and you're going to get overwhelmed very soon. If you don't make sure that there is continuity in the process, you're just going to be wasting a bunch of effort doing that. And once again, I mean, definitely do test out. You can test out by commenting whether someone is active, because there is really a bunch of people who, I don't even know why they do it, but they just post content on LinkedIn and just go away. I don't get what's the point. This is a part of LinkedIn that I'm never going to understand, by the way. Maybe they do it for visibility. Maybe they do it for SEO, so that, something they posted, like an article, would maybe rank on Google somewhere. Personally, I don't get it, but commenting is a way to actually check this out. Like, are they actually active with a reply to your comment? So yeah, just make sure that you do this in a structured way, so that you can just continue doing it, because I'm fairly certain all of us can just sit down one day and just bang out 4 hours worth of amazing comments. But if your pipeline is dependent on that, you need to make sure that you can do this in the long run, if this is how you're going to get clients. And trust me, if your ideal client is on LinkedIn and you do this right, you are going to get clients, unless you just screw it up somewhere on a sales call or your offer isn't very good. But yeah, it's a very effective approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I just posted the link again, and it's working. I tested it, so just try it again. Thank you so much, Dana. That's true. I mean, and again, just to wrap it up, LinkedIn is a social platform, but it's made specifically for networking. So everything, the algorithm will always reward you for networking, right? Because that's what it's made for. And that's why LinkedIn, more than others, they distribute your content through comments and all of this, because that's what it was made for. That's specifically the main goal of the platform is networking through professionals. So if you understand what the platform is meant to do, then that's where what you should be doing to get that visibility as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, friend, thank you for having me. This was a pleasure. I hope that our viewers
Dana,
got some value from this in-depth commenting overview.
yeah, thank you so much, Dana, for joining. Thank you everyone
And thanks
for being
everyone.
here with us. And you can find us in the community. You can find us in the community if you want. It's free to join. I hope that the link, you can find the link there. It's going to be up only for 1 hour. So, but there you can reach us any day, any time of the day. Thanks a lot
Yeah.
once again, everyone, and
Thanks everyone.
have a great weekend.
And see you around. Enjoy your weekend.